I walked into a room at my own engagement party and caught my fiancé making out with another woman. What I did next shocked everyone, but honestly, he deserved it. Here's the full story. So this happened last weekend, and I'm still processing everything. I honestly don't even know where to start, but I need to get this out because my brain feels like it's about to explode. My fiancé, let's call him Jake, and I had been together for 4 years. 4 years of what I thought was the perfect relationship. We met in college, moved in together after graduation, adopted a dog, the whole 9 yards. When he proposed 6 months ago, I literally cried for like 3 hours straight because I was so happy. We started planning this huge engagement party because both our families are massive and everyone wanted to celebrate. The party was at this gorgeous venue downtown that cost an absolute fortune. We're talking string lights everywhere, open bar, a live band, the works. My mom went all out with the decorations, and honestly, it looked like something straight out of Pinterest. Everyone we loved was there, probably like 200 people total. Everything was going amazing at first. Jake gave this sweet speech about how he knew I was the one from our first date. I was dancing with my bridesmaids, taking a million photos, just living my best life. About 2 hours into the party, I realized I hadn't seen Jake in a while. I figured he was probably with his groomsmen doing shots or whatever, but after another 20 minutes, I started to worry a little. I asked his best man if he'd seen him, and he just shrugged and said Jake mentioned needing some air. The venue had this back hallway that led to a private patio area, so I headed that way thinking maybe he was out there. As I'm walking down this hallway, I hear voices coming from one of the small side rooms we weren't even using. One of them was definitely Jake's voice, and the other was a woman's voice I didn't recognize. My stomach immediately dropped, like I had this gut feeling that something was very wrong. I stood there for a second trying to convince myself I was being paranoid, but then I heard her laugh, this flirty giggle that made my blood run cold. I pushed open the door, and I swear to God, time literally stopped. Jake was pressed up against the wall with this woman, and they were full-on making out. Her hands were in his hair, his hands were on her waist, and for a split second, neither of them even noticed me standing there. When Jake finally saw me, his face went completely white. The woman jumped back so fast she almost tripped over her own feet. I just stood there frozen, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. This woman was gorgeous, wearing this tight red dress, and I had never seen her before in my life. Jake started stammering immediately, saying my name over and over like that was going to fix anything. I couldn't even form words. My brain was just screaming at me to do something, say something, but I was completely blank. The woman grabbed her purse and tried to slip past me, muttering sorry under her breath. I finally found my voice and asked Jake who she was. He ran his hand through his hair, this thing he always does when he's stressed, and said she was just someone from work. Just someone from work. Like that made it better. Like that explained why his tongue was down her throat at our engagement party. I asked him how long this had been going on, and he tried to tell me it was nothing, that it just happened, that he'd had too much to drink. But the way she touched him, the way they were together, it didn't look like a drunken mistake. It looked comfortable, familiar. Like this wasn't the first time. I could hear the music and laughter from the party echoing down the hallway, and it hit me that 200 people were out there celebrating our future together while my entire world was imploding. I told Jake we needed to talk, like actually talk, and he followed me further down the hallway to another empty room, away from where anyone could hear us. Once we were alone, everything just came pouring out of me. I was yelling, crying, asking him how he could do this to me, to us, at our own engagement party of all places. He kept trying to touch my arm, trying to calm me down, but I jerked away from him every time. The audacity of this man to try to comfort me after what I'd just witnessed was honestly insane. He finally admitted that he'd been seeing her for about 3 months. 3 months. While we were picking out wedding venues, choosing color schemes, sending out engagement party invitations, he was sleeping with someone else. I asked him why, like, what did I do wrong? What was I lacking? And he had the nerve to say it wasn't about me, that it just happened and he didn't know how to end it. I literally laughed in his face. Not because anything was funny, but because the situation was so absurd I didn't know what else to do. Here was this man I was planning to spend my life with, telling me he'd been cheating on me for months and acting like he was the victim of circumstance. Like he just accidentally fell into a whole relationship with another woman. I asked him if he even wanted to marry me or if he was just going through the motions. He swore he loved me and wanted to marry me, but obviously his actions were telling a completely different story. I told him I needed a minute alone to think, and he actually had the audacity to ask if I was going to tell everyone at the party. Like his reputation was the priority right now. I locked myself in that room for probably 10 minutes, just trying to breathe and figure out what to do. Part of me wanted to go out there and expose him in front of everyone. Let his family, my family, all our friends know exactly what kind of person he was. But another part of me just wanted to disappear, to not have to face the humiliation of everyone knowing I'd been cheated on. While I was in there, my phone kept buzzing. My maid of honor was texting, asking where I was, saying people were looking for us for the toast. The toast. We were supposed to do a couple's toast with champagne and everything. I felt physically sick thinking about standing up there next to him, pretending everything was perfect. I finally made a decision. I wiped my tears, fixed my makeup as best I could, and walked back out. Jake was waiting in the hallway looking absolutely terrified. I walked right past him without saying a word and headed back to the party. He followed me, whispering my name, asking what I was going to do. I found my maid of honor and pulled her aside. I told her I needed her to grab my purse and meet me at the back exit in 5 minutes, and that I'd explain everything later, but I needed to leave right now. She could tell something was seriously wrong and didn't ask questions, just nodded and squeezed my hand. Then I did something I'm honestly really proud of. I walked up to the microphone where we were supposed to do our toast. Everyone got quiet and turned to look at me with these big smiles on their faces. Jake was standing off to the side looking like he was about to pass out. I grabbed the microphone and thanked everyone for coming to celebrate with us. I said how much it meant to have all our loved ones in one place, and how this was supposed to be one of the happiest nights of my life. I could see people nodding, smiling, completely oblivious to what was about to happen. Then I said that, unfortunately, the engagement was off. You could literally hear a pin drop. People's faces went from happy to confused to shocked in about 2 seconds. I didn't go into details, didn't blast Jake publicly like part of me wanted to. I just said that I'd discovered something tonight that made it impossible to move forward, and I was sorry for any inconvenience, but there wouldn't be a wedding. Jake's face was completely red, and his mom looked like she was about to faint. My mom immediately started pushing through the crowd to get to me. I handed the microphone to the nearest person, grabbed my maid of honor who had appeared with my purse, and we literally ran out the back exit. We got into her car, and she just started driving while I completely broke down in the passenger seat. I told her everything, and she was furious. Like, she wanted to go back and key his car level of furious. She took me back to her apartment, and I've been crashing on her couch ever since because I can't deal with going back to the place I shared with Jake. The aftermath has been absolutely insane. My phone has been blowing up non-stop. Jake has called and texted probably 500 times, alternating between begging for forgiveness and getting angry that I embarrassed him in front of everyone. His friends have been reaching out saying I overreacted, that everyone makes mistakes, that I should have handled it privately. My friends and family have been incredible, though, completely supporting my decision and offering to help me get my stuff from the apartment. The wildest part is that apparently Jake's family knew about the other woman. His sister let it slip to my cousin that she'd met her before and thought Jake had ended it. So not only was he cheating, but his family knew and said nothing. I feel so betrayed on multiple levels. I've been doing a lot of thinking about signs I missed. Looking back, there were definitely red flags. He was on his phone way more than usual, started going to the gym at weird hours, was suddenly working late multiple nights a week. All the classic cheating signs that I just explained away because I trusted him completely. The amount of support I've gotten has been overwhelming in the best way. My dad, who's usually super calm and collected, apparently showed up at Jake's work and had some words with him. My friends have been sending me food, showing up with wine and ice cream, just making sure I'm not alone. Even people I haven't talked to in years have reached out saying they're proud of me for standing up for myself. Jake's been trying to do damage control on social media, posting vague stuff about mistakes and growth, but people aren't buying it. Apparently, the other woman posted something too, some cryptic quote about complicated situations, and people connected the dots pretty quickly. I'm not gonna lie, I'm devastated. I thought I was going to marry this person. We had our whole lives planned out. But I also feel this weird sense of relief, like I dodged a massive bullet. If he could cheat during our engagement, what would marriage have been like? Would he have done this while I was pregnant? While we were raising kids? At least I found out now before it was even harder to leave. So that's my story. If you've ever been through something similar or have advice on moving forward, drop it in the comments because I could really use it right now. And if you learned something from this mess or just want to support someone going through a breakup, hit that like button and subscribe for more real stories. Trust me, there's a lot more where this came from. Thanks for listening. And remember, you deserve someone who wouldn't even think about betraying you, especially not at your own engagement party.